Hello, guys. Yeah, very good afternoon. I hope you're all having a great Sunday. Thanks for joining in this masterclass session, guys. You might know me. I am Vikash Srivastava, co-founder and head of product and engineering at AlmaBetter. So, really happy to see you guys who have joined this masterclass session over Zoom or over LinkedIn or YouTube. So, looking forward to this session, and I hope we will have a lot of interesting, things to talk about in this class. So, without any ado, we can definitely begin. This masterclass uh, is is around. Hang on, yeah. So in this masterclass, we want to talk about how AI is changing sports forever, right? And the field of sports has been totally revolutionized by the new capabilities and introduced by these technologies like AI, data science, or ML. We all, of course, have been using these terms interchangeably, but there is like a thorough definition that one needs to incorporate within ourselves. So AI overall is a broader discipline. Within it sits machine learning, and then within machine learning there is deep learning, which has born out of a particular algorithm called neural networks. So first, it's important so that we don't confuse ourselves with so many jargons, right? People are using AI, even this could be like a normal rule-based logic, right? So any system where, let's say, any sort of automation or any rule-based, they do not qualify as AI, as simple as that, right? In general, any technology can be referred to as AI, where it has the capability to sort of learn and keep improving its learning so that it can improve upon its performance. Overall, that's the objective of the AI. And there are like thousands of applications targeted to model how this particular thing works, right? So let's move forward, and we want to sort of discuss the agenda. So I hope you guys are more or less clear about as in the jargons first of all, because I don't want you to get confused. And this is like a pretty common mistake you guys can see whenever people are talking about the field of data science in general, right? So the first thing is you don't want to confuse yourself. So the jargon is like important for us to sort of understand what does it even mean, right? And then we can sort of talk about the things in detail, right? Remember that machine learning or data science is a field which is within the capabilities or within the technology of AI, and whatever that we are going to discuss will sort of belong to this particular broader umbrella of things, right? So let's talk about today's agenda in this masterclass, guys. So first of all, we just want to talk about how AI is impacting the field of sports today. Then we'll talk about certain important applications in turn, where you'll get to know as in how are we able to achieve the so many different wide range of tasks through AI, right? So the first that we are going to talk about is auto-generated match highlights, right? Who do not love highlights? And especially in this fast moving world, a lot of people might not have the bandwidth or the time to watch the entire match, and they would want to straight away watch the highlights so that they can get to know what's happening overall, right? As in what happened during the match, so that they can quickly consume that particular information. And this is where this becomes really important. We'll talk about it in detail. The second impact that we'll talk about is AI referee, right? So, of course, traditionally there have been like manual or human referees, but now the field of sports is getting augmented in terms of improving the decision making capability, where not only humans are involved, but AI is now assisting these referees to make and take good quality, good decision calls overall, right? Next, that we are going to talk about is how data science or AI overall is enhancing player performance, right? And that is like a really vital use case for AI in this field. Next is scouting and recruitment. This is again a very important impact or task that is getting widely popular in the field of sports, where you need to hunt and scout for really good talent who are emerging from, let's say, the local arena, and you'd want to give them a place in bigger leagues and have them play in bigger tournament. So how do you identify? Because junior players are like in thousands and lakhs, and how do you sort of quicken that process? How do you quickly scout good players and identify them in the very initial stage, right? Next that we are going to talk about is match predictions, as how machine learning can help us predict the outcome of the match. That is like a very important use case, and a lot of even sports betting, a lot of decision making even during the game uh, can actually help us understand or predict what's the outcome gonna be, right? So it's very important in the field. Next, we are going to talk about automated sports journalism. So why has this become relevant? So we'll talk about it. Next, we're going to have a really interesting icebreaker quiz, where we are going to have like a short quiz, and will involve you guys. So the toppers of this quiz are going to get the goodies, and so I would request you to please stay tuned for that as well. And so towards the end, we are going to talk about the program offered by AlmaBetter in data science, especially. And we'll also do a basic dashboard walkthrough so that you guys can know, as in how are we achieving the education and the employment that we are providing associated with this particular field of data science, right? And then towards the end, we'll be open for a Q&A session. So I encourage you guys to keep posting your questions in the Q&A section over the Zoom, or you can also comment in the YouTube stream or in the LinkedIn stream, and our team will basically push that to us, and we'll pick those question and answer, right? Your time permits, we'll be able to take all the questions. If it doesn't happen, what we'll do is we can share the details of those questions post our event. All right, guys. So pretty excited to again begin this session in a way. So let's get into the meat of the discussion, right? So first of all, what we want to do is we want to talk about the impact of artificial intelligence in the world of sports, right? And I have listed here some of the really important use cases which we are going to deal in depth in today's masterclass. So the first impact that we definitely talked about is auto-generated match highlights. That is like a really popular use case nowadays. AI referee, enhancing player performance, scouting and recruitment, match predictions, and then automated sports journalism. So these are like top six impact that we have sort of sorted and filtered through. And we wanted to highlight these task which has actually augmented the field of sports in terms of entertainment, or in terms of that watching experience overall, right? So now let's talk about the first important use case, which is auto-generated match highlights, right? So how does that happen? And we want to sort of discuss this thing in slight detail, right? So usually what happens, let's take an example of the game of cricket, right? And I'm sure you guys, most of you guys would I think you guys would be watching cricket on regular basis. So overall, what happens, right? How does the game sort of evolve in cricket, right? So you guys might know that there are overs in cricket. So there is a particular over in which there are like 6 balls a bowler has to bowl, and the batsman would try to score runs on those balls, right? So now there can be a lot of events which could be happening while this over turns out, right? So let's say there could be the first ball which the bowler is planning to bowl. So the bowler is starting to run up, right? So that is like one event which can signal the onset of a series of events, right? So once that happens, then the second thing that will happen, that the bowler would deliver the ball and to the batsman, right? Now the next thing is batsman could hit the ball, let's say over the ground, and they could take some runs, right? So that is of course one example. They can also hit a boundary or a six. So there could be like a lot of other outcomes associated with a particular delivery, right? And then there could be a lot of events, like let's say if a player has scored a particular run, usually the cameras, what they do, they take a close-up shot of the batsman or the bowler, right? And overall, and then there could be like other events where uh, the cameras, they monitor the umpire's decision overall, right? So it could be a boundary, it could be a no ball, it could be a white ball, it could be a six. There are a lot of different outcomes which are possible as the over sort of evolves. And the whole idea is we need to make the AI or the machine capable of detecting or identifying these events, so that given a particular video frame, they can identify that whether this is a particular boundary video frame, or the ball is getting delivered, or probably the bowler is preparing for the run up. So there could be a lot of events, and these events are more or less detected through proper AI models, like advanced deep learning models, which uses some sort of object detection in a way, and they identify, okay, what's happening in that particular video frame. So based on that particular video frame, they annotate or tag, okay, this is a particular thing which can be labeled to a particular video frame. So now once we have this particular data, event by event, frame by frame of all the overs in the match, so we'll have a lot of annotated frames uh, throughout the match, right? So this particular frame of, let's say, 1 second, this is where the boundary was scored, right? There could be another event where a wicket was taken, right? So there could be a lot of events, and the whole idea is for us or for the machine to be able to generate the match highlights. It's important how do you stitch together different frames. Once you have the annotated frames, you would now want to stitch them together. Let's say the sports officials, they would or maybe the broadcasting team, they can define that, okay, I would want to generate a quick, maybe let's say 10 minutes match highlights of, let's say, a T20 game. So now they would sort of have a detailed look at all the annotated video frames, and they would want to sort of stitch them together through a powerful selection method, as in what kind of event, of course, should I start with, and how these events will, or these frames, as in these selected frames, will be present in the highlights, right? So the first thing could be, of course, let's say the two teams doing the toss. So that could be like the one upfront video frame, which is annotated as, let's say, the toss, right? So that will be displayed upfront, and then now let's say the first over begins. So if there is any important event, like the first runs are scored, or let's say there is a boundary, so those frames are now stretched in that particular highlight, and sequentially all these highlights are more or less generated, right? So why why is there even a need to auto generate match highlights? Because you see, there are like thousands of sports being played all over the world, and within each sports there are like thousands of events or games that are happening, right? And it's like very tedious, and it's like a very overwhelming job to generate a match highlight using a human editor, right? So of course, if humans have been doing this previously and traditionally, right? They have been looking at key moments in their multiple screens wherever the broadcasting team is working from, and they would want to select certain components and then stitch them together and generate a sports highlight video. But these usually can take a longer amount of time to generate, right? Because humans would take a lot of time to sort of figure out, okay, what should I select in this particular time point of time. And so overall, if you notice, like this is a very time consuming task. This is very tedious. So the idea is, because so many events are happening across the globe, right? So because you're already getting a lot of video capture or video data around these events, those can be quickly annotated using machine learning or AI, which uses some sort of object detection, as I mentioned, to annotate what's happening in that particular event. And then they can quickly sort of summarize all these key moments and generate a quick highlight video, right? So this is pretty efficient. This is pretty fast. And this is more or less accurate, right? That, okay, these are the key moments which happen during the event, and that can be sort of displayed in a particular video. So this is how actually the match highlights are generated. And if you look at any popular highlight, so not only the game of cricket, it could be like the football highlights or even F1 highlights. And you might have noticed that these highlights, as soon as the match is over, these highlights are already available to watch for the audience, right? So we might have wondered how quickly are these people generating the highlights. It's not, the match has just been over for like a minute or two, and we have the highlights video already available. And these are now achieved, as I mentioned, through really advanced AI models, which can summarize a lot of different video frames and pack them up in a particular highlight video, right? So as I mentioned, the key idea is to detect key events during the match or during that game. So you'd want to be able to detect any replay which is, let's say, being broadcasted. You would want to be able to detect the scoreboard so that you can show that, let's say, during certain moments in your highlight video. There could be like detecting play field scenarios where you are trying to identify whether a particular event involves, let's say, hitting a six or hitting a boundary, or even there could be like a bowler taking a wicket, right? There could be like other events where you'd want to detect or analyze those. So there could be like audio cues. So there is a commentary which is already going on during the live broadcasting. So you can identify certain elements from the commentary, and you can have them, let's say, you can show them in your highlight video based on what were the like crucial cues that you got from the audio data of the commentary, right? Next is you be able to detect player celebration. So different models focus on different tasks. So let's say I want to detect a player celebrating. So let's say there could be a frame where I would apply, let's say, a normal object detection model, which is trained on this particular task, which can identify whether a particular player is celebrating in this particular moment or not. And once that's identified, it could be selected for the highlight video overall. So the whole idea is you detect the key events using a different set of task specific machine learning models. And then once you have that, you basically stitch them together and summarize that in a way to generate your highlight video overall, right? So that is how the sports highlights are automatically generated. So if you have been wondering how is this being achieved, so I hope now you guys have a basic understanding. Of course, there are so many things in detail that we'd want to, of course, understand, as in how even scoreboard detection is happening, right? I simply mentioned that there would be, let's say, task specific model, ML model, which would detect a particular scoreboard if it appears on that particular video frame. And then it can sort of first annotate, okay, this is like a scoreboard frame. And then it can sort of select whether we want to show this particular scoreboard frame in the highlight or not, right? So I hope you guys now have a basic understanding at least of how the highlights are being generated. All right. So just yeah, continuing on that particular bit, right? So let's say you have in a particular, let's say a shot of like 20 seconds video, right? So you can divide that into different frames, and you can then highlight which frame has the key event, right? And that is what you would want to sort of shortlist for your match highlight, right? So let's say if you're getting a series of continuous frames and you are annotating each of them as, let's say, bowler running up, bowler is delivering, batsman is hitting the shot, right? There's a close up on the batsman. So now in that particular, let's say, a video of 20 seconds, you have maybe, let's say, 10 frames, right? and you would want to label a particular frame as key event, or you can also label maybe two frames there as the key event frames, and you would basically shortlist that for your match highlight. And this you'll do, let's say, turn by turn. So assume your entire match video is broken into, let's say, a series of videos of 20 seconds, and then each of these videos are now broken down into multiple, let's say, 1 second or 2 second frames, and then you annotate those as, let's say, a particular frame as a key event, and then you can stitch them together to generate the resulting highlights, right? So as you can see here, to generate the resulting highlight, you pick a frame which signals the event beginning, right? And then you place all the key events for each of those video frames, and then you also have an event ending frame, and then everything is sort of stitched together, and a good highlight is generated overall. So I hope you guys are now able to understand how the match highlights are generated. So can I please get a yes over the chat if you guys are able to follow me? uh, I do not expect, let's say, a detailed understanding, guys, but overall how this sort of task can be achieved, right? So let's say if you were given this ownership or task to uh, generate or basically develop a framework of generating match highlights. So this is something that you can sort of keep in mind. And of course, if you go about building the actual model, that will have, in fact, more intricacies associated with it, where a lot of a big team probably would be involved in building these ML models and then putting them on the live video data to generate the match highlights. All right, guys. So yeah, thanks for confirming that you are able to follow. Let's move ahead. Now let's talk about another very important application that we have all witnessed pretty recently, right? So you guys might be knowing that the Football World Cup, it concluded recently in Qatar, right? And it was like the most viewed sports event till date, right? And you might have heard a lot of news about it, that Qatar built like 8 stadiums, and they've also employed a lot of novel technology to improve the experience of the game, and also improve the decisions which are being taken during that particular event, right? So one very important use case that was developed by FIFA, which was VAR in football, and it's an acronym for video assisted referee, right? So usually what happens that in the game of football, for example, there are like critical decision making that uh, is happening all the time, and the traditionally referees have been taking all these calls, but it has been witnessed that around these referees can make like 5 to 10% of mistakes on their decisions, right? And the game and the FIFA, which is like the governing body of football, they wanted to tackle this problem of the errors made by human referees, and they wanted to employ really good AI technology to improve decision making during the event, right? So what could be the decision making that is very critical in the game of football? So one is, of course, goals and offenses leading up to a goal, right? So what are the things which culminate in having a goal? So there could be an offense associated with it, which, let's say, the referee can take a call, right? So referee can take a call on offside. There could be like an offensive tackle. So these are the things which the referees traditionally have been taking a call, but now with the implementation of VAR, and we'll talk about what VAR exactly does, and they're able to improve their decision making, right? Even in sports, like there is a decision review system. So traditionally, umpires have been taking a call on, let's say, leg before wicket, or there could be like an outside edge from a wicket. And these were not like perfect, right? Because they are humans and they can make mistakes. They are vulnerable to making mistakes, and that's why the technology is very important here, so that uh, uh, none of the teams or even the audience is unhappy with the decisions which are being taken on the field. and technology can help us improve that decision making, right? Next is penalty decisions and offenses leading up to a penalty decision, right? So there are a lot of calls being taken by referees where they would want to award a penalty because they feel that the defender did an offensive tackle there, and referee decided that, hey, this is like a penalty kick, right? And in a lot of occasions this can actually be erroneous. There could be like a mistake made by referees. So now FIFA decided that, hey, we'll be implementing VAR and we'll be monitoring what's happening in the field through a huge array of cameras located on the field, right? So there is a camera on both the sides of the goal, and there are multiple cameras, let's say at the center of the field and from above. So they are now able to track the movements of the player. They're able to track movements of the ball, and now because this data is available through a lot of motion capture effects, right? So this can actually be shown, or can help referees to locate what happened in that split second, and they can maybe pause for a moment and review that particular decision, or review what should be the decision overall, and then take a final call, right? So all these cameras, they're streaming they are streaming, let's say, the player position, the position of the ball, and where, let's say, the different players are uh, I would say different players are positioned with respect to each other, right? Because in the game of football, there is an idea of formation which is very critical, and each team, they have a particular formation, and and these cameras, they detect those particular formation and see if there is any scope of, let's say, identifying, let's say, if there is an offside, or even in football, there is a notion of goal line technology which has been used to tell whether this particular thing would be a goal or not, right? A particular kick would translate into a goal. So referees are using all this real-time data which is coming to them, and they are able to sort of analyze what's happening in different portions of the field, and accordingly they are able to take a call, right? So they can also take really good calls on direct red card incidents, right? That happens frequently in football, and on a lot of occasions, referee can actually take a wrong call on giving red card to a particular player. So they can go ahead and review on their particular screen, which you might have seen, which is available just besides the field, and they can see on their screen what actually happened, and they can take a improved call over there, right? Again, there could be like a mistaken identity. So for example, referees can give out a yellow card to a particular player if they're involved in not so good tackle. And a lot of time, because things happen so fast, things happen in split seconds, the identities can be mistaken. So where there also helps in identifying who was actually involved in that particular tackle, and then that particular decision of issuing a yellow card could be taken in a better way, right?
Sure.
So if you might have seen in that World Cup game, right? And there were like all the games where this VAR technology was implemented. So in the VAR room, there is a top right monitor which you can see on your screen, right? Which is your VAR screen, and that essentially comes from the main camera, and it's sort of detecting what's happening overall. And then they're like they're like other assistant referees which are available in this VAR room, who sort of zooms in on, or shortlist certain frames which would be crucial or critical in making that particular decision, right? So now they sort of filter those out and supply it to the on-field referee. He has a look on his screen, and then eventually takes that call, right? So VAR is like a really useful and popular technology nowadays, which has been which has gotten really popular and has actually improved the experience of the game, right? Not only for the audience, but for the teams, because of course they are the ones who are playing the game. So it's very important for them that not a single wrong call is taken. And even if a wrong call is taken, it can be reviewed quickly, and then a particular decision can be overturned. All right, guys. So all right, guys. So let's move forward. Let's talk about another important use case, which is enhancing player performance, right? And player performance is pretty critical, especially when there's so much stiff competition in a particular game match, right? And the teams would want to identify how or identify the scope, how their players can improve their game. So all of these today, they are now being achieved through computer vision, right? Computer vision is now used for human motion tracking and analysis. So overall, what happens at so this is a screenshot, or in fact a particular frame from the game of let's say basketball, or game of, let's say, baseball, and where let's say in the frame the model would identify each of the players and label them, right? So on the right you can see that the label could be the team from which they are playing, or it can also highlight the name of the player. So these advanced object detection or motion detection tools or models, they annotate real time, as in what's happening in that particular frame or in that particular screen. And once they have annotated it, they would be able to sort of uh, uh, do a better tracking of the players, as in if you focus on a particular player, let's say during the game of basketball, right? So how they are moving from one side of the court to the other, right? So this tracking is being achieved through AI models, and they do it parallelly for all the players, and even they do the tracking of the ball as well, right? So different models are implemented to track different things which are happening during that particular event, right? So player tracking is being done through smart object detection techniques. So a popular algorithm there is something that we call YOLO, and that is widely used for doing such sort of motion tracking, right? So what are the methods that are being used for this? So they can track using just motion detection that I showed you in the previous slide, right? They're also doing a lot of color tracking, right? So let's say a particular team would have a particular set of jersey color, and the other team would have a different jersey color, right? So they also track the color worn by the players to identify which team they could be playing for, right? And then they can also be a combination of this color and, let's say, your player tracking, to give a better understanding of, let's say, this player from this particular team moved from this side of the court to the other. And so now on, so once we have this input data, right, and this is not where the game sort of ends, right? So once we have this data on different players moving from one side of the court, right? So now we can generate a lot of really smart statistics around the player, right? As in how much run did they make during the entire game, right? For example, a particular player can make a run of like 4 or 5 kilometers, right? There would be a lot of other statistics that can be generated or derived. For example, how many shots did they attempt on target, right? And similarly, you can generate a lot of different stats which quantify the performance of the player, right? How many passes did a particular player do for this particular team, right? So all these stats can now be derived once we have the data, which is again obtained through proper, let's say, computer vision models applied on that video data. And so on the basis of that, we derive a lot of really important stats which can improve the performance of the player. So let's say once a game has happened, right? So the coach can have a look at, let's say, the performance analytics, and they can advise their players that, hey, you showed this particular sort of behavior during the game, and would want to change that up a bit, right? And there could be a lot of different strategies which coaches can devise based on this particular understanding, and they can define, okay, which player should take which sort of position, and what kind of play they should be making. And this is not just, let's say, basketball. This is like in every sports, this is being tremendously used, right? So powerful computer vision models are helping us understand how players are moving during the game and how the ball is moving, let's say. And now once we have that raw data or input data, we can aggregate them to calculate different player statistics, and they can be used to improve the performance, right? And you might have seen this in, even if you have played FIFA before, right? So I'm talking about the video game FIFA. There also you are able to see a lot of really smart stats associated with, let's say, each player or with each team, and that's happening through application of these really good CV models, right? Which is short for computer vision overall, right? All right. Um, Sorry, guys. Have a bit of cold today. No worries, right? So now let's move towards a really other important application, which is scouting and recruitment, right? Which is again similar to the discussion that we did in the previous slide, right? So now, because let's say there are so many players who are trying to pick up a particular game or particular sports, and they're trying to make a name for themselves there, right? And so now, usually, what happens during this process of scouting and recruitment, right? So let's say I want to identify who are like really good local players who can be absorbed in a really popular league team, and these happen by observing a lot of really local games which are being played in sort of abundance, right? So there could be like thousands or 10,000s of matches or games happening every day, let's say even within the game of football, right? So now what really good coaches or football managers would want to have a look at, they would want to have a look at like popular local games, and they would want to identify which players are like doing really good, right? So let's say if there is a player who is on the attacking position, right? So how many shots are they making on a target, right? What's their accuracy of passes, right? What's their accuracy on assist? So all these stats can be calculated by applying, let's say, your motion tracking and ball tracking analysis. And all these derived stats can be generated, which can pinpoint as in which players are sort of doing good on these certain on these aspects. And once we have this particular understanding, we'll be able to define that or identify whether this particular player has a really exceptional stats, and they can be sort of called for playing in a particular league, right? So scouting and recruitment has become very easy with the application of AI technologies, where player associated performance or stats are being shared with football managers and coaches, and they are able to easily scout, okay, these are like 10 players who have demonstrated exceptional stats in, let's say, in these 50 matches which were played in this particular duration in, let's say, a particular country. So take an example of a country like let's say Germany or UK, right? UK has this famous English Premier League, right? And there's so many matches. In fact, they have a lot of divisions within which they have a lot of teams which who are competing against each other, right? Now the managers would want to identify local talent based on their stats, and would want to absorb them in these games which are played in, let's say, EPL, and they would want to nurture those players game by game. right? So identifying the right set of players, identifying who has like the best set of techniques, these are all being achieved again through motion tracking, and then generating a lot of statistics based on that motion tracking data overall, right? uh, So overall, in nutshell, ML algorithms, they use aggregated data to evaluate players, right? Their skills and overall potential, and they can rank them in various categories, right? So in a game of football, I can identify, let's say, after uh, going through, let's say, maybe 100 football matches data, I can sort of identify, okay, who are like the top five players who are really good at defending, or who are like the top five players who are really good at attacking, right? Or who are like the good players who should be playing, let's say, center back. So all these notion or all these ideas can be obtained if we apply smart ML algorithms on the game data overall, right? And we can rank the players based on their performance by looking at those important statistics and metrics, right? Next is right. So I hope this is clear to you guys, as in how scouting and recruitment has actually become really easy for top coaches and top organizations to hire or recruit the best players in their team overall, right? Next important use case is match prediction. Again, so a lot of applications you might have noticed, especially associated with sports, they are relying on really smart computer vision models, which can detect objects in the video or in a particular image. And now they are sort of being used as a base to understand a lot of derived insights, or get a lot of derived insights, right? So let's say if you're given this task to do a match prediction, how would that happen, right? So you would want to have a look at, let's say, in a game of football, you would want to have a look at what's the number of passes that's happening between teammates, right? And it's not very easy to sort of calculate manually, right? So like there are 22 players who are involved in the game of football, and they're like doing tons of passes throughout the match, right? And it's very difficult to sort of manually calculate as in how many passes there have been so far. So computer vision models, they analyze each frames, and they're able to keep track of the ball, and if it's moving from player A to player B, and they're sort of calculating all such passes, and then telling how many passes that's happened throughout the game. So this is one important stats that can actually help you predict what's the outcome of the match gonna be. The next could be a team's formation. So again, in football, teams formation is pretty critical, right? So there could be like 4-3-3-1, or there could be like 5-2-3-1. So there could be like different sort of formation a team can adopt based on a lot of factors, whether it's a home match or away match, or what's the opponent, what kind of formation they have. So the team formation can actually help us predict the outcome, right? So these are like a set of initial inputs. So as I mentioned, number of passes, which is again being calculated using CV, a team's formation, which is again being calculated using computer vision, number of goals scored, that again the same story, how many chances were created or how many assists were created, how many shots on target were there, and how many key passes that led to let's say goal scoring opportunity, which we also say as, let's say, a goal assist, or there could be like other bets, right? So all these important inputs will be sort of clubbed together, and they will be sort of fed into a proper, let's say, a classification algorithm, which can, let's say, at any point of time during the event can calculate what is the predicted probability of a particular team to win this particular match, right? And again, all these inputs to give that particular outcome, they are being calculated by applying computer vision, right? So the first thing is you apply proper object detection or computer vision to get all these inputs which I've highlighted on the screen, right? And once we have these inputs, they can be fed as inputs for a successive or a successive machine learning model, which takes these inputs and basically give you a probability of a particular team to win. So that could be a classification task overall, but the input data is coming through applying object detection and computer vision in general overall, right? So this is how this happens overall, right? So see, the key idea is collecting really smart data, and because now we are in this age of information, um, a lot of really smart devices are being embedded. Let's say, so a chip can be embedded inside a cricket ball to track the trajectory and what's happening with the ball all the time. It can be a chip can be also embedded inside a football, right? Which which can sort of keep feeding the information of the ball trajectory and how much time is it on the air or during the ground, or or if the ball is getting passed from player A to player B, right? So so collecting data by using all these smart sensors or devices is like preliminary, right? They're like, that is very important. You'll be able to get that data, and then on top of it, you're also having a lot of video data, right, which are being let's say fed through a huge array of cameras which are available on the field, right? So video data, sensor data, which are like embedded on the football, or let's say on a cricket ball. A lot of sensors can actually be also embedded inside a cricket bat, right? So that you can understand as in at what pace the ball is coming on the bat, or at what pace the ball was sent back to, let's say, the boundary when it struck the bat, right? So there is a lot of interplay of different things, and then a final task can be achieved, which is, let's say, the task of predicting the match outcome. But before that, I need to understand how my inputs are going to be gathered. And these again are gathered through video data, motion capture data, sensors data. And they again, after you have combined all these inputs through different sources, you can then actually do a quality prediction of your match outcome, right? So this is how uh, a game's outcome can be predicted for a particular sports, right? So in cricket, you can predict, let's say, at the onset of second innings, which team has the higher probability to win, right? And even if you search for, let's say, India versus Australia in Google, right, you see the win probability, right? So let's say India might have win probability of 34%, and Australia might have, let's say, probability of 50%, and there could be a probability of 16% of the match being tied, right? So how are these probabilities calculated? So they are taking a lot of inputs which I've mentioned here. So these inputs, of course, can depend from game to game, but the underlying structure more or less remains the same. You get the inputs, and then you try to predict the outcome in terms of probabilities, right? And at any point during the match, these probabilities can change depending on the factors and their values at that particular point of time, right? So and so you might see that in like 2 overs or 3 overs, these probabilities can actually change. So if India had an let's say an earlier probability of 34%, and let's say 2 overs passed, so that probability can actually get updated to maybe 52% if the last 2 overs really went in favor of India, and accordingly the match probabilities can be calculated, right? So this is how, in general, this happens. If you want to actually do a smart analysis of how this can be achieved, so you need to have a proper understanding of the inputs which can be first received in terms of raw data, and then you have to apply some smart, let's say, uh, ML classification model to predict which team will win this particular game, right? Next, and this is like the last sports impact through AI that we'll discuss. But again, just to tell you guys, this is not an exhaustive set of um, uh, applications in the field of sports. So today we just discuss like these six major applications of AI or machine learning in the world of sports. But there are like so many other applications which we might not have time to sort of cover. So let's take this example of automated sports journalism, right? And I would want to involve you guys in a discussion, right? How can this be achieved? So what I'll do, I'll basically open a simple Padlet and will share with you guys, right? So I'm sharing this over the chat and request the team to share this also over YouTube or LinkedIn, from where other yeah audience are live. So please share that. And what I'll do, I'll just quickly create, sorry, delete the post which were available earlier. So now what I want to, oh, hang on, right? So, sorry, I deleted, in fact, right. So hang on, sorry. Right, so I'm sharing the new Padlet link, guys. Yeah, please excuse me if there is any confusion. So yeah, please use the new Padlet link. Now I would want to get an answer from you guys. What could be a basic process? I just want to understand what could be the basic process to, let's say, generate, let's say, a match report for a particular match, right? What do you think? How can that be achieved? If we can just simply mention in the Padlet, as in a simple, let's say, 2-3 step thing, right? How can that be achieved? So how to automatically generate a match report, right? So let's say you're trying to write an article or a summary report for a particular cricket match that happened between, let's say, India and Australia. So how can that be achieved? Can you just simply write as in like the top 2-3 things in sequence? So if you do that, this can be achieved, right? So can you mention your answers, guys, on the Padlet? Yeah. So what do you think? How can let's say a match report be created? So yeah, please don't write hi. I know you guys are there already. I want to get some answers from you, as in how can this be achieved, right? So let's say if we're given this task of generating a match report, right? So so how would you achieve that, right? So we have to feed the match data. Okay, that is the first starting point. And if you guys can also mention your name, so we can so make a detailed summary report from the match CSV text. Okay, okay. All right, guys. Anyone who wants to take an attempt on yeah on this, right? So take keywords, summarize. Step 3, create a paragraph based on most search keywords on internet. Okay. So collect the data. So I'm assuming, so there is an answer by Prasad Khare. So I'm assuming the data that you are mentioning could be like the video data of the match directly, and that can be like video. So it can be images, it can be text, it can be audio, which can come from the commentary, right? So there could be like a range of data. So the video would have not only the images but also the audio, and that could be coming from the commentary, or it could be like on field audio as well. So once we have that data, okay, let's have a look. Oh, sorry guys, right? So analyze it with ML models by annotated tags. Awesome. Compare with previous data, give outputs, right? So if you're getting the, let's say, video feed, so you are now able to annotate and understand, okay, what are the key events which are happening, right? So we talked about automated sports highlights, right? Your auto-generated sports highlights. In a similar way, what you can do is you can probably focus on the key events, and then you can generate, let's say, a text summary by feeding in the video, right? So there is like a 20-second video. I can feed that into a particular model which has this task to generate, as in convert a video to text. As in, my task of that model is take a video input and generate a textual summary overall, right? So if there is a model which is being trained or which is trained on this particular task, so I can supply the match video or match data, and then text summary can be generated, let's say, for maybe a 1 minute video each, and then they can be further summarized again to give you a consolidated summary which can highlight the key events that happened during that particular match, right? So you might have heard about, let's say, chat gpt, right? What is chat gpt doing? It is taking text or prompt as input and then generating text, right? So we say that this is a text to or a text generation model. So if I give it a certain prompt, it will generate text, right? There is a famous model which was again released by OpenAI, which is uh, I would say, DALI, right? So what does DALI do? It takes text as input, right, and it generates image, right? So there are a lot of tasks where it could be like text to text, text to image, text to video, and then there could be like other models which can do like audio to text, audio or video to text. So different models would be sort of trained on specific set of tasks, and we usually would call these models as models, as in not models per se, but we'll call them uni model, right? Because they have one mode, as in they have one main task that they can do is video to text, or text to image, or image to video, or maybe text to video. So there could be like different things that we can do, right? And hang on, yeah. So let's come back to this. So there could be like different specific tasks that we can train a particular machine learning model to do. So in the case of sports journalism, the input would be video and the output would be text, or it can be a combination of text and image. If that's the case, it can be called as a multi-model output, because it has, in this case, two modes where the output can not only be, let's say, text, it can also be image, right? So even so there is a news that GPT-4 is going to be released next week, and it's not going to be a simple unimodal unimodal model such as ChatGPT, which whose basic task is to just generate the next series of words or text, right? But a powerful model like GPT-4, it can also generate text, it can generate video, it can generate images by given, let's say, so it by giving it a text input or text prompt, it can generate different sorts of output, right? So text or image or video. So to achieve a particular task in machine learning or in data science, what we need to do is define first the modality, as in what's the nature of output and input going to be. Once we have defined that, we can train it on a lot of training data. So for example, let's say I want to become really good at automatically generating match reports, right? So what I will do, in the training data, I'll have, let's say, a 5-minute video or 10-minute video, and then there would be the output would be the match summary, which might have been created by humans, and this data is, let's say, historically available. So now I've trained a model to generate a text summary from a video input. So now let's say a live match is happening, I can, or a match has just concluded, so I can input the video, and the machine learning model can generate the text corresponding to that particular video. All right. All right, guys. So I hope you are now able to sort of understand how we are able to achieve. In sports, mostly, a lot of computer vision is being applied for a wide variety of use cases. So deep learning, I feel, so apart from your core machine learning model, right, a regression model, or for example, or even a classification model. So a classification model would be used to predict the outcome to predict the probabilities of a team winning a match, or getting that favorable outcome. But a lot of applications that we have been seeing are coming from the deep learning side of things, right? Where object detection, where face detection, or like video analysis, right? So there are a lot of really smart advanced technology which is being used in sports, and not the classical, let's say, ML applications, which we might know already, right? So this is how this is achieved. And let's say you just need to sort of define as in what your input output pair is going to be, as in what their modality is going to be, and then you can train that particular model, and it can become better at actually doing particular task, right? So there would be a lot of AI tools which are sort of doing the reverse, right? So if you give in the text, it can generate a video as well, right? So it has in a way reverse modality, as as we discussed earlier. So you provide input as text, it can generate the video. So that can also be done, right? So if I have, let's say, a textual commentary data, right? So I can supply that as an input, and there could be, let's say, an animated sports highlight, or animated video showing what happened overall during the match, right? So this can be achieved once you define what kind of specific task your model is going to do overall, right? So guys, so I think these were like the primary applications that we wanted to discuss in the world of sports, where AI is taking the field by storm, right? So now we have a really interesting quiz, guys, and I'll share the link. So yeah, just please stay tuned, and this is going to be really fun quiz. The winners are going to get the goodies, and which will be communicated over the email. So I'm going to share this quiz screen now. So yeah, just give me a second. Right, just give me a second. And this is going to be really interesting quiz, and it's going to be more or less about what we have discussed in this masterclass overall, right? I do not want to go really into the detail as in how exactly object detection would work, because for that you'd need to sort of understand and go through, let's say, a module such as deep learning, which is an important module that we have kept in our full stack data science course, right? So let me just start the quiz now. And this is just for you to guys to become curious, as in how AI is ushering in such innovations across different domains, right? So in every masterclass, what we try to do, we try to pick a particular domain or a particular industry which is being revolutionized by AI, and we're trying to demonstrate the capabilities and the power that, or the potential it has in terms of improving not only the game experience, but also improving the decision making that's happening during the game, right? So yeah, I'll just share the Kahoot screen now, guys, right? So hang on, stop share, I'll reshare my screen now. All right, so so what you need to do is just open your phone browser. So let's say you can open Chrome browser on your phone. Go to kahoot.it on your browser. So just type kahoot.it and enter the game pin, right? And you'll be required to ask, enter a nickname. So write your proper name. So then only we'll be able to identify as in who won the quiz, and we can distribute the goodies accordingly, right? So yeah, please join the Kahoot game through your phone. So what you will see, so when we display each question, you will be seeing the option colors on your phone, and you just need to tap the corresponding color to mark your answer overall, right? And so just hang on. So meanwhile, I would request the team to share the feedback form over the chat, so that we can get the feedback from from our people who have attended this session, and we'd want to sort of have a look at your feedback and try to improve as we do such masterclasses in future. All right, guys. So while we sort of wait for this quiz to start, please go ahead and fill the feedback form which we have shared in the chat. So please do that. This is very important for us to sort of keep improving upon the masterclasses. If you feel that we are not going a lot technical, or probably we are going very technical, so you can sort of highlight both the things, and we can accordingly try to design the experience of this masterclass. All right, so please do that. Right, and this is going to be a short quiz, probably will take around 4 to 5 minutes, but this is going to be really fun, guys. And the Kahoot quizzes are like an integral part of all our live classes. It really entices the audience in a way, and keeps them at their toes. So this is like yeah, really interesting format that we have adopted in for not only for master classes but also for our regular live classes which happens, right? So cool. So I'll wait for like 20 more seconds for everyone to tune in to this particular Kahoot quiz. So yeah, please do that if you haven't joined it yet. So I can see a lot of folks haven't joined yet. Please do. So yeah, just take out your phone, guys. Open Chrome or Safari. Type kahoot.it in your address bar. You will be prompted for a game pin. Enter that, which you are seeing here. And then you will be prompted to write a nickname, write your proper name there, and you will be in overall. All right, so let's begin the quiz, guys. So yeah, right, cool. So the first question is, what are the key events which are used to generate automated match highlights? What do you think? Audio cues and analysis, scoreboard detection, replay detection, all of the above. So we discussed, right? So we talked about how one can go about creating match highlights. So in this example, let's take an example of cricket. So what do you think? What are the key events which are used to generate automated match highlights? Audio analysis, scoreboard detection, replay detection, all of the above. What do you think? Fairly straightforward. So yeah, most of you got it correct, guys. So this is all of the above, and not only these top three, but there are like other events which are also used to generate really good match highlights. All right. So let's see who is on the leaderboard. So Deep Kamal is at the top, Anam is at the second, and Kichu is at the third, followed by Sishir and Nida. So yeah, great going so far, guys. Let's move on to the next question. So VAR in football refers to, what do you think? Video assisted report, video augmented reality, video assisted referee, or none of the above? So what do you think? Right, this is a very straightforward question. Just wanted to understand if you have paid even a slight attention in the masterclass, you will be able to get it, right? This is very easy. So what does VAR in football refers to? So yeah, some of you got it wrong. So it's video assisted referee, and some of you guys guessed video assisted report, someone guessed video augmented reality, but that's not the case, right? So yeah, it's video assisted referee. So let's see who is on the leaderboard. So Kichu is now on the first position, followed by Siddharth, Avijit, Piyush, and Arushi. So let's move ahead. Let's have a look at the third question. So how does automated sports journalism work, right? So we talked about it. Is it text to text? Is it video to text? Is it text to audio, or is it audio to text? What do you guys think, right? So whatever that you think could be really relevant with respect to the discussion that we have had, you can guess this particular answer. So how does automated sports journalism work, right? Text to text, video to text, text to audio, or audio to text. Mark your color. We are running out of time. Yeah. So most of you, got it correct. It's video to text, right? So the example that we discussed, right, where the input could be the match video and the output that we want to generate is the text overall, right? So let's see who are on the leaderboard. So Siddharth at top, Kichu at second, followed by Praveen, Piyush, Saurav. So great going, guys, so far. So the penultimate question of the quiz. So which ML technique is used for player tracking, right? Regression, clustering, object detection, natural language generation. What do you think? So it's a very simple question. Just give yourself a time and then mark the corresponding color on your phone. Right. So 10 more seconds to go, guys. So which ML technique do you think is used for player tracking? Right. Yeah, please don't answer in the chat, guys. We want to make this really competitive, so don't do that. And yes, a lot of you got it correct. This is object detection, so which we have been discussing throughout our masterclass. So let's have a look at the scoreboard again. So Siddharth is at the top, Piyush is at second, Prasad followed by Arushi and Kichu. So these guys are doing really good. So last question of our quiz. So predicting which team is going to win a sports match is an example of which ML problem? Topic modeling, classification, clustering, or regression, right? So even if you don't know this answer, that's totally fine, because we are teaching all these basics and fundamentals in our data science course. But I would want you guys to take a jibe at it. So what do you think? So we want to sort of predict which team is going to win, right? So there could be like two teams who can win, right? So what kind of task do you think it could be? So yeah, a lot of you got confused, but this is a simple classification task where I just want to predict whether team A or team B is going to win, right? So the end output or the end outcome or my target variable, it's either going to be team A or team B, right? So it's a discrete outcome. And anywhere we have target variable consisting of discrete outcomes, that automatically qualifies as a classification task, right? If we are trying to predict, let's say, a continuous output or value, like the number, like a number like 10.1 or 50, that would classify or qualify as regression task. Clustering is, of course, you would want to cluster, and that's like an unsupervised task overall. Topic modeling is where we would want to identify topics from a set of documents. So of course that was not related and we didn't even discuss that, but we did discuss about classification, and that's why I had this question. So let's see who are the toppers of the quiz today. So let's have a look at the podium. So Kiran is at third. Congratulations, Kiran. At second, we have Arushi. Awesome. And let's have a look at who is the first. So at first we have Prasad. So congrats, Prasad, Arushi, and Kiran. The runners-up, we have Tanmay and CB. So congratulations, guys, for doing so well in this quiz. All right. So we'll be sharing the goodies over email. So the team will have a look at the Kahoot results and accordingly send out the goodies. So now let's come back to knowing a bit about AlmaBetter, right? So let's understand what are we trying to do at AlmaBetter, right? So at AlmaBetter, we are a community-first learning platform where students are studying in groups, they are doing projects in team, they are getting ready for jobs, right? So we are a one-stop platform where we just don't provide education or let's say the technical upskilling, but we also help people get jobs in a particular domain, where we also have a bold promise of a threshold salary that you'll get after you have completed the program overall, right? So at AlmaBetter, we are currently providing two main programs. One is data science and the other is web development. So, all right. So we are really focused on a community approach, right? So we have a proper community of enrolled learners who are learning with us, and they're studying in groups, they're doing projects in team, they are connecting with mentors, they're connecting with peers, they are going through tons of mock interviews, portfolio building to help them get ready for jobs, right? Why should you join AlmaBetter? So the first thing is we have a really industry relevant curriculum where we sort of gauge proper feedback from the interviews which are happening with our hiring partners. So they point out that, hey, we expect these kind of skill sets in your students. So we take those as feedbacks and inputs, and we try to bake them in our curriculum, right? So our curriculum is not just a theoretical, it's a very practical curriculum. It's very industry relevant, and it has been developed by continuous inputs that we are getting from our recruiters. Because see, the field of data science is constantly evolving. The technologies are also constantly evolving. Earlier, RNNs, LSTMs, they were like really popular, but now attention-based networks, which is sort of driving all these powerful models like ChatGPT, so they have become really popular. So our curriculum is trying to understand what's very relevant and what is going to help people win in the market, in the job market especially. And that is what we're trying to keep in the curriculums. It's very latest, it's very relevant, and it's holistic in that sense, right? We are a primarily cohort based learning platform where learning happens through the live class medium. Of course, if you have, let's say, another commitment, or if your academic commitment increases or your job commitment increases, you can also resort to watching these recordings later on. But we would prefer or suggest that you attend the live classes, you interact with the peers, you interact with your instructors, and make use of these live classes. So we have live classes 4 days a week overall. Um, and then there are like doubt sessions which happen not only during the live classes but also during the weekends. All right. In our program, you will have access to 20 plus capstone projects along with 1,000 plus coding problems and assessments. Of course, you will not be required to do all these projects. You will be required to do a total of 4 to 5 projects across different modules, and those you would be required to submit, which where you will sort of qualify for the AlmaX eligibility. We'll talk about that. But another thing that you will get from AlmaBetter is weekly doubt resolution sessions along with one-on-one mentorship session. So we have a really good mentorship and mock interview platform where you can connect with your coaches to seek guidance or maybe conduct a mock interview on a particular topic where you feel that, okay, I should prepare myself better, so I can conduct a mock interview with a coach of your choice. So in terms of doubt resolution, we have a proper support forum where you can submit your query, and our team will try to resolve your doubts at the earliest. You can also raise tickets and point out issues if you're facing, and our team will try to solve them at the earliest, right? So doubt resolution not only happen during the live classes during the weekdays, but they also happen during the weekend, so that you can partake in. And next is we conduct 50 plus mock interviews in our AlmaX program with dedicated career coaches, which help you polish your technical and communication skills. So these are like very important in terms of how you want to articulate a particular concept, a particular interview question, or even how are you going to talk about your projects that you mentioned in your resume, right? And then we offer 100% job guarantee. So what we seek is commitment and perseverance from you guys. So we have a very flexible program. So we are not asking you to sign ISA upfront, right? So we do not want to put you in that sort of a really anxiety zone. So we're giving you the freedom to sort of complete the course as per your convenience. So there are certain milestones which you need to sort of complete, and once you have completed that, we push you into the AlmaX program where we guarantee 100% placement with our 500 plus hiring partners, right? So these hiring partners are hiring throughout the year. So based on the availability and openings, we accordingly share your profiles, right? So that is why I would suggest you should pick AlmaBetter, and you can simply go ahead and sign in today and explore our platform and see the projects, practice coding assessments, quiz assessments for yourself, do a free preview of the curriculum, go through the lessons which are available to you, have a look at them, and try to take a call whether this particular program makes sense for you or not, right? So overall, the AlmaBetter path to success is pretty straightforward. Step one is to sign up, go through the free resources which are available in your dashboard, and then take a call and enroll in the program. So of course, you need to decide which kind of course you want to take. Step two is you want to start your learning journey. And as soon as you keep completing the milestones, you'll be getting the certificate overall, right? Now the step three is again simple. So when you have completed the milestones or the prerequisites for AlmaX, you will be eligible to sign the ISA, and will refund the enrollment fee which you have paid in the step one or in the beginning, right? So once you have signed the ISA, your placement preparation begins in AlmaX. So in AlmaX, so it is a 3 months really intensive program where we are working on helping you build your portfolio. So not only your resume, but also your LinkedIn profile, your GitHub profile, your even personal websites, or even your YouTube profile, right? Apart from that, we are preparing students in their communications, because we feel that in the field of data science, communications also is also pretty important with respect to, let's say, your technical knowledge, right? So technical knowledge is of course a prerequisite, but if you're not able to articulate yourself, if you're not able to explain a particular concept clearly, then the interviewers might lack some faith in you, and you're not going to get hired. So we place a lot of emphasis on training you not only from the technical side, but also from communications and behavioral side. And apart from these, you'll be going through 50 plus mock interviews on different concepts, and different company level interviews as well, so that you can really prepare well for the interviews which will be facing in real time, right? And the step 5 is, once we share your profile with our hiring partners, you will be doing interviews with them, and eventually you'll land up your dream job, right? So once you land your dream job, then only your payment sort of begins, and you need to just pay only after you get a job above 5 LPA. So let's say if you get a job of, let's say, 4.5 or even 4.9, we're not going to ask you a single rupee there. So this is a placement guarantee, and there is a guarantee of minimum salary threshold associated with our program. All right. So we support a variety of learning activities in our program. So for technical skills, we are providing live lectures, as that is the primary mode of learning with us. Of course, if you have other commitments and not able to attend the live classes, you can go through the recordings, or in case if you have missed a lot of live classes due to, let's say, some sort of sickness or some sort of commitment, you can actually switch cohorts as well. So that is the functionality we are giving. So you don't have to worry. You just need to prepare yourself and put yourself in the right mindset that, hey, I want to pursue this program in this particular fashion. I want to be disciplined. I want to be really consistent in my approach. And then you'll see the results for yourself, right? So you don't have to get demotivated. Let's say if you're encountering something difficult or something you're not able to grasp. So you have to put yourself at it, maybe discuss with your coaches, discuss with your instructors, discuss with your peers, and try to find a way out of it, right? There are a lot of interesting lab experiments we have, a lot of projects and assignments, and then group discussions as well, right? So these are important for you to hone in your technical skills. For motivation and industry exposure, we provide one-on-one mentorship. There are a lot of guest lectures and masterclasses we do like these to give you industry exposure. So we do a lot of AMA sessions. We invite industry experts from popular companies, and they share their experience and how they became, let's say, a data scientist. And that is very useful for our learners to understand how to set a path for yourself. Then community participation is again very important, because a lot of people, let's say within a cohort, they will be going through the same phase. They have the same end objective that they want to achieve, which is eventually getting a job. So so we understand that this can be totally exhausting. Learning can be totally exhausting, right? So there is a place in community where you can discuss with your peers, you can share memes, you can have a fun time. So a good balance of both is guaranteed to help you win over long term, right? So not only placing a strong emphasis on technical upskilling, but doing a whole lot of community participation can put you in the right mindset, right? And the things which are mandatory for AlmaX are capstone projects and competency challenges, right? So needless to say, we have more than 500 plus companies hiring from us, and these are like some of the top brands which are hiring from us. And apart from these, there are like other companies across domains and industries. Uh, and the instructors and mentors that we have in our ecosystem, those are like world class. So these are people with minimum 7 to 8 years of experience in data science, and they're working at really big companies like Geo, Swiggy, Dream11, IBM, AB InBev. And you can connect with these mentors on your fingertips and get a guidance and plan your journey overall, right? And these are the people who are going to teach you in the live classes, so you can learn so much from them, right? So and then these are like some of the success stories. If you want to have a look, so go to our success stories page on the website, or maybe on our YouTube channel, and have a look at them. You can also connect with these alumni over LinkedIn, and try to understand how their journey was, so that you can get a really transparent understanding of how the program at AlmaBetter more or less works, and how are we able to even guarantee something like placement, right? So you can talk to them directly. Um, so now I would want to do a basic dashboard walkthrough, but before I do that, because you guys have been really great so far, right? And you have taken your precious time out to join this masterclass. So we're giving this coupon code SPORT35 that you can apply on the data science course payment, and you will be getting 35% off, right? So which I'll show you, but the coupon code that you can use to enroll. So there is a cohort which is starting on 14th March, which is like 2 days from now. So 2 days from today. So you can use this coupon code to enroll in our course, right? So let me, show you the dashboard, basic dashboard, as in what things you can do from here. So what do you need to do? Go to almabetter.com, right? And what I'll do is, so I'll simply sign in, right? So I'll be signed in this platform called grow.almabetter.com, right? And you can see a lot of things here. So let's say this is a view of an enrolled learner. So what you can see here, so there is an home, which is sort of an aggregation of different things like your main program course, a lot of free courses, a lot of coding assessments, quiz assessments, and a lot of capstone projects as well, right? So let's have a look at them turn by turn. So this is the main program. Let's have a look at this. So this is the main program, right? And so if I show you the updated curriculum that we have, so hang on, yeah. So let me just do one thing. So I'll share again, right? So this is a view that you guys might be seeing on your dashboard, right? So I'll go to continue learning, and here what you can see is that so we have divided our curriculum into like 4 major tracks. So the first track is the orientation track, where you will be, let's say, going through 1 or 2 modules where you will be building a base for your competitive aptitude, and you will be building a base for business communication. So that is the orientation track. Next, you will go into the foundation track, where you will be learning the foundational modules such as Python for data science, where we are discussing fundamentals of Python programming, and then diving into useful libraries such as Pandas, NumPy for doing exploratory data analysis. And then there is a capstone project as well, right? The next foundational module is analytics framework, where you're going to learn Tableau, SQL, and Excel, and all these things in detail, right? Next foundational module that you are going to do is maths for data science, where you will build up your basics and fundamentals to learn machine learning. And here you'll learn calculus, linear algebra, probability, and statistics in detail, right? The next foundational module is the module of machine learning, where you will be going through foundations of machine learning, classification algorithms, regression algorithms, a lot of machine learning techniques that are being widely used in ML modeling, and a lot of other algorithms that we have kept, like time series analysis, NLP, recommender systems, right? And then once we have completed the foundational modules, right, which is part of the foundation track, what you can do is you can pick a particular specialization of your own, and we will sort of guide you as in which specialization to take. So based on your past performance and based on your interest, we'll map you to a particular specialization. So there are 3 specializations we are currently providing. One is business analytics. This is for someone who wants to really work closely with the business in terms of strategizing and doing analytics for the business, where you will be learning a lot of analytics tools like Google Analytics, um, and then you will be learning about visualization principles. You will be learning about business BI platforms, which are short for business intelligence platforms, right? So a lot of advanced business analytics you're going to learn, and a lot of lessons focus on how the industries are actually carrying out a particular analytics that they are doing in their domain, right? So if you don't like a lot programming a lot, right? So business analytics is something that you can take, and the end career outcome here would be like a data analyst, or risk analyst, or a business analyst, right? The next specialization is data engineering. So if you like programming, right, you want to get into the software engineering side of data, right? So data engineering specialization would be fit for you. And here you can expect yourself to become a data engineer, an ML engineer, or AI engineer, right? And these roles would involve a lot of software engineering. So if you really like a lot of programming, then only you should be choosing the specialization. And the third is advanced ML. So this specialization, we are teaching other advanced ML algorithms and focusing on deep learning, NLP, and other optimization algorithms in detail. So if you want to become a data scientist, or if you want to even become data analyst, you can choose, let's say, this advanced ML specialization. And we have divided the special. So we are giving three specialization track, just so that you can define the proper career outcome for yourself, and then eventually build your way there, right? So this is the overview of the curriculum, right? You can go through a lot of practice problems like this Armstrong Award. You can keep doing these problems, right? So for example, here what I can do. So this is something that we have built for our students, so that they can improve their coding ability, right? And we currently support all these languages like Python, SQL, and for web development we support JavaScript, React, and Java, right? So what you can do here is, so let's say my input is going to be 5, and I want to take this input and then just simply print it, and let's see if this works or not. So you can see the output is 5, right? So now, depending on the problem statement, you can try writing your code, and then run the test cases, and then submit. So your submissions will you'll be able to see them here, right? So this is something that you can do. There are now coding assessment, which are again bundled coding problems. So each coding assessment can have like 4 to 5 questions, and you can see your submissions and hints from here. Cool. And then there are a lot of quiz assessments that you can take. Then there are a lot of projects that you can do. So for example, I want to have a look at the machine learning projects. So there is a project on, let's say, company classification or Zomato restaurant clustering, right? So let's have a look at this particular project. So this particular bit, first bit would be around project description, where you'll be able to understand what this project is about. You'll be able to understand what are the project evaluation criteria. These are logged because this will be visible to enrolled learners. And then you will be able to see presentation video and final checklist. And then you will be able to submit your project. So where you will be required to share the project link and the video link. And then once submitted, right? Once this is submitted, you'll be able to see here in the submitted tab. And so once you've submitted, it goes to a human evaluator for submission. They evaluate your project on a certain set of rubrics and share the feedback accordingly. All right. So this is how the projects work, and projects are like prerequisites for you to get into AlmaX. So if you get into AlmaX, you'll be able to see the AlmaX curriculum and the things which I mentioned, like business communication, learning and revision, job prep, right? A lot, your portfolio building. So all these things are part of it. And then your let's say mock interviews will be conducted through this mentorship platform, where you will be seeing a lot of auto-generated bookings here, which you are required to mandatorily attend. And then let's say if you are seeking guidance, you can go ahead and book a data science guidance. Let's say you are seeking learning guidance, you can click on this and next, and you'll be able to book a session with a particular coach, right? So there is also a help desk that you can see, so which is the knowledge base. So you can see a lot of articles related to our program and other details. You can also have a look at the forums, right, which where the students are having a lot of technical discussions overall, right? So go through these and explore for yourself, and you'll be able to get the idea. Next is the community bit that I want to show. So community again is at so hang on. So I'll just reshare again. So I hope you guys are able to see. So again, community is at the core of our offering. It is at the core of our program, because see, we understand, we have been student ourselves before. We understand that learning can be exhausting. So if we allow a space for our students to interact and share their ideas, it could be anything, right? So there is like this space called chill space, where our students are sharing memes and having a fun time, right? So this is very important for you to delineate yourself from the regular hustle of learning every day, right? So you're attending classes, you're solving assignments, you're doing projects, right? And these can be totally overwhelming for you. So there is a space where you can share your thoughts and network with your peers, right? So also what you can do is there are a lot of group, as in you can discover community members. So let's say what I can do is on in the filters here, I can go to city and I can search for, let's say, Patna, right? So hang on, So if I search Patna, I'll be able to see people who are from Patna, and I can, let's say, connect with them. So for example, let's say there is this guy Prabhat, and you can see his profile, and if you feel that okay, this guy is worth connecting to, so you can simply do that. All right. So that you can do through the community platform. Again, there is a section on performance, so you can see your performance across modules and on different levels, right? So what's your performance on capstone project with respect to, let's say, star students or Alma X or cohort, right? So that you can do. And let's say if you want to refer your friends, you can use our refer and earn, and you can earn 1500 per successful referral. Again, if you look at the profile section, you can see your account, which you'll be required, all these details will be required to fill your once you have made the payment and enrolled into the program. You can see your certificates here, and you can share these certificates over LinkedIn as well, and over other social media too, and you can add them as credentials on your LinkedIn. Next is program info. This is what I was talking about. So let's say you started learning with a cohort, for example, in this case, cohort Jerusalem, right? But for some reasons you fell sick, and or maybe you had a lot of work commitments and you're not able to follow up with the live class. So what you can do is you can switch to a newer cohort. So for example, in this case, I am at cohort Jerusalem, and this cohort is currently learning maths for data science. But let's say you completed Python, but you're not able to continue due to your commitments. So what you can do is you can, let's say, switch to this cohort Republic, whose you can say that their analytics framework is going to begin on 13 March. So you can provide the reason for change in cohort, and then you can confirm the changes, and you'll be able to change the cohort, right? So this is a functionality that we have built, because we understand that this is a part-time program. We are not taking full-time commitment, and there could be academic commitments, there could be job commitments, and this is very important for us to consider and give you flexibility in terms of pursuing your end goal overall, right? So this is overall, guys, I wanted to sort of discuss. And now what I would want to do is pick up certain questions in the Q&A and discuss those. All right. All right. So I think, sir, where to find the daily lesson quiz, so that I can show you guys. So it's very straightforward. I'll just show you. So let's say if you click on continue learning, you are at this module. So if you click on a particular lesson, right? So you come to a lesson page where you can see the video. So the initial set of activities would be focused on learning. So there would be a collab notebook here that you can see and learn from. You can also click on view collab and open the collab in another tab. And then there are assessment activities for the lesson, where you're required to test yourself and see if you have gained any understanding at all, right? So there's a quiz that you can take, there is an assignment that you can do, there's a feedback that you can provide for each lesson, there's a discussion forum associated with each lesson where you can go ahead and post a topic and start discussing with your peers. And then you can simply move from activities to here. Like I can move from by clicking this right arrow on my bottom right screen. So I can keep. Also, one important thing is if you click on the lesson right here, you will be able to see the entire module. So without having to go to the previous page, you can navigate to any lesson from the lesson UI directly, right? So this is how you can do it. I think, let's discuss the next question. So I think, I have already answered this. So is it best if I start in July, August, and by the time I'll graduate and I can be... So see, when you want to start, that is a call that you need to take independently, right? We can assist you, but let's say if you're looking for a job and if you're thinking that, hey, I should be able to get a job in data science in the next 6 months, then you should go ahead and enroll in the next batch, which is starting, because you want to allow yourself some time to prepare. And honestly, I will say that this is not an easy course, right? It requires a lot of commitment and it requires a lot of discipline, right? So even though we have a lot of support, but the until and unless you don't have that inner drive, that inner curiosity to learn and become something, you will not be able to do that, right? So I would suggest you start as soon as possible if you can. If you're targeting that, hey, I want to get a job in, let's say, in this particular field in certain in this, let's say, 6 months or 7 months overall, right? Till March. Okay. So is there any deadline to submit the capstone projects? So no such deadline. Ideally, you should be completing the capstone projects as soon as you are completing the module. So each module ends with a capstone project. So do complete that in timeline, but there's no fixed deadline, right? But overall, to get into Almax, you would be required to do like 4 or 5 capstone projects. And for that, the let's say the accumulated or the total timeline would be a period of 12 months. So you need to complete all these projects within 12 months to become eligible or to get into Almax, right? If you delay more than that, our team might not consider your case, because we don't want people to take a lot of time to complete the course. We say that this is a more or less 6 months course. At max, you should take like 8 to 9 months to get a job, but not more than that, right? All right. Is there any deadline? So we answered this. So, sir, how and which AlmaBetter courses are beneficial for a biotechnologist on a research program? So, Khushi, I'm assuming that, let's say you are doing a research in the field of biotechnology. So, so even though, let's say if you're not trying to get a job in data science, you can enroll in our program and learn the techniques of data science so that you can employ those techniques in your field, right? So let's say in biotechnology, a lot of applications would be on, let's say, genome sequencing, or there are like other applications. So if you know ML modeling, if you know statistical modeling, you will be able to employ those techniques to improve the quality of your research, right? So of course, our program is a job job oriented program. But even if you're, let's say, doing research, or even if you're in, let's say, second, third year of college, and you're not going to pick up a job maybe in, let's say, 12, 15 months, you can still enroll in our program and complete your way through it, right? So definitely I would suggest, because this is very important. So data science is a domain, is an agnostic discipline. So once you master, let's say, the core skill sets, they can be applied and learned, or they can be applied to a wide range of industries, right? So the field itself is agnostic, but if you club in the domain knowledge, then it becomes a really powerful asset, right? So let's say in your case of biotechnology, if you understand as in what kind of task I can achieve through particular ML techniques or ML models, then the quality of your research can definitely improve, right? So so let's say even if you want to do a simple SVM classification for a particular task in your biotechnology research, you can do that, right? So learn the core technical skill sets. Now it's up to you and your imagination where you want to apply these concepts. So, all right. So, uh, sir, I can only be eligible for job placement after my graduation or even before. So, of course, see, usually what happens when you try to get a job, the companies would have a look at, let's say, your graduation degree, right? Or they would want to have a notion that, hey, you have completed your basic graduation or undergraduate, right? Of course, this mindset also needs to shift because there are a lot of people who are dropping out from colleges and they're also pretty talented, right? So, but the companies need to also start sort of broadening their mindset that they might sort of, or they can do away with this basic requirement of having a graduate degree. But as of now, a lot of companies, they look for graduate or graduation degree. So you will be definitely eligible for job placement after your graduation, or you can even start before. So let's say if you're in your final year, you can start learning. And by the time you graduate, you'll be in the AlmaX program and you'll be able to get a job pretty quickly, right? The eligibility criteria is you need to complete certain capstone projects and certain competency challenges which are placed throughout the program, right? So that I think so, sir, is this program completely free? So I'll tell you how exactly the fees or the payment looks like, right? So to enroll in our program, to start learning, you need to enroll and you need to pay a refundable enrollment fee, which is like between 20 to 30,000, right? So depending upon the discount that you can avail. So it will be in that. So once you pay that, you start learning, and as soon as you complete the milestones and you sign the ISA for AlmaX, we refund that enrollment fee, whatever, let's say 25,000 you have paid, we'll refund that. And then you will be in AlmaX program, you will be getting ready for job, you will be interviewing with companies, and then eventually when you land your job, right? So there, if you have gotten a job, let's say above 5 LPA, you will be required to pay, let's say 2.4 lakhs. So you can pay that in easy EMIs. So there's no concern as such. But that you'll only need to pay after you have gotten a job above 5 LPA in data science. So you need to understand that, I hope. So cool. So I think we are nearing the end, as in we are nearing the end time for this masterclass session. So I'll probably take one more question and then wrap up this masterclass session, guys. So okay. So Shivam is asking a good question. So sir, please tell me how I can analyze my performance. Uh, so not all performance like on the dashboard, but I'm asking in detail so that I can prepare well, right? So you need to first understand as in how much time are you taking to complete a lesson, right? So let's say there is in a lesson there is a video of 2 hours, there is or there is a live class of 2 hours, then there is a coding assessment, there is a quiz assessment that you need to take. So define yourself probably like 3 to 4 hours to complete all the activities associated with a lesson. And if you're able to do that, you can be confident that you are doing well. If you are seeing that you're not able to complete things in time, even though you have a lot of time, right? You might be struggling. So the best thing to do would be to reach out to, let's say, your peers or probably connect to a mentor, right? So book a mentorship session on guidance and connect to a mentor and share your problems with them, and they will help you plan your journey, plan your path, as in what you should be doing when. So that way you can actually become better at it, right? So cool, Shivam. I hope that was clear to you. So how do we get our masterclass certification? So you will be getting that over email, Khushi, and you can share that on social media. So as happens with all certifications that we give, so be it let's say the certificates which are part of the program, you can share those over social media and also add them as credentials over LinkedIn, right? So that you can do. Um, guys, so I think there is a good token of appreciation from Abhijit. So, sir, I will enroll, but I need your guidance in future because your teaching method is next level. So, thank you for your words, Abhijit. We try to do the best, which will help you master the topic. But having said that, the instructors that who are taking the live classes, they are also pretty experienced. They are working in big companies, and they are like at the frontiers of data science work in different industries, right? So those are also pretty smart people, and you can learn from them. So, but if you see guidance, we'll of course be doing a lot of master classes and a lot of community discussions. So we can, in fact, catch up over community as well. So you can send me a friend request, and we can chat over there too, or you can simply mail me. But if you want to also seek some additional guidance, you can book a mentorship session with a really good coach. In fact, you can book a mentorship session with me, and you'll be able to get the required inputs that you desire. All right. So cool, guys. I think the time is more or less near. The end is nearing. So we'll not be able to entertain all the other questions which we have received in the Q&A. What our team will do, they will pick these questions which have gone unanswered, and they will share the reply, let's say over email, or you can directly talk to our admission counselors and get an idea about these doubts from them directly, right? You can simply mail me as well, and I'm sharing my email address with you guys, vikash@almabetter.com. So if you have any issues, any problem whatsoever, feel free to mail me or reach out to our team. And you can simply also place a callback request, and our team will try to answer those questions as soon as possible. So before we sort of wrap up, I just wanted to show this coupon code again, guys, which is sport35, and you can get 35% off. So let's say if you are go to enroll now, let's say from your dashboard. So you can click on enroll now, and what you can do, so hang on. So give me a second. So let's say, so there is already a 20% off which is applied. Hang on. Let me just show you guys again so that you can understand it. So what I was telling is that in your dashboard, so if it looks like this, you might not have enrolled yet. So click on enroll. And what you can do is, let's say there was this default coupon code of 20%. But for the attendees of today's masterclass, there is this coupon code support35, which you can apply, and you can save more than 10,000 rupees on program enrollment. You take both of them, and then you can go ahead and pay 19,000 and enroll in our program, right? Let's say if by any chance you're looking to enroll for web development, you can switch the goal, but ideally you would not encourage to switch the goal pretty often. Fix a particular goal, as in develop a particular idea in your head that, hey, I want to learn data science because I want to become data scientist, because this is something which is very aligned to my career goals. Then only you define the goal and enroll in that respective program. All right. Cool, guys. So I think, we have had a really great session. So of course, we learned about how AI is revolutionizing the field of sports. But we also talked a bit about how at AlmaBetter we are trying to really make a dent in terms of delivering outcomes for a lot of learners who are coming to our platform for learning and data science and getting a job in the field, right? So thank you again to everyone who took out your precious time on the Sunday afternoon to join this masterclass. and everyone who joined us either through the Zoom session or have joined us over YouTube and LinkedIn. So thank you so much again for giving us your valuable time, and we hope that you really get your desired output or goal from AlmaBetter once you enroll in our program. And if you're facing any difficulty, feel free to reach out to us, mail me if you're not getting prompt response. So we'll try to make sure that your queries and your problems are addressed as soon as possible. So thank you again. And we'll keep having the such interesting master classes in future. So either you are a free learner or an enrolled learner, these master classes are always sort of very helpful for you to just gauge a basic understanding of how data science is revolutionizing the world overall, right? So every master class, we pick a particular company or a domain, and we try to highlight the applications of AI or machine learning in general, and discuss things in detail, right? So thank you again, everyone, for tuning in this session. I'll see you guys next weekend. Till then, enjoy your weekend. Have a great week ahead, and enroll today, guys. Batch is starting, and probably let's say on Tuesday you might not be able to avail 35% off. So please, do it today, and because we want to really have serious and motivated learners. So take a decision, because you need probably like 2-3 days to be prepared to sort of start your journey, right? So if you enroll, let's say on Tuesday or Monday, you will have less time for yourself to get in that zone, get in that mindset. So do it earlier and give yourself some time. And then once you have a basic understanding of how to go about your journey with AlmaBetter, you'll attend your live classes where we'll start with orientation, and you'll be getting a lot of guidance from there onwards. So till then, explore things on your own, try to solve certain practice problems, try to solve lessons, and share with your friends if they're also planning to learn data science, right, and get a job in the field. So thanks again, guys. So see you next weekend. Bye from my side. Thank you again. All right. Take care. Cheers.